Mary Poppins Returns is actually a movie. The first movie was so good, you never actually thought there'd be a sequel to it, but here we are, near like 50 years later, and we have a sequel. And in this film, Julie Andrews, of course, is not playing Mary Poppins this time, it is Emily Blunt, and instead of the Banks children themselves, they are now grown up, and they have children of their own. And when things are very troublesome in the family once again, with Mr. Banks, the now Mr. Banks, not being able to pay off certain loans, and the kids trying to do something to bring back the mood of joy and happiness, Mary Poppins comes descending from the sky once again to a very big, colorful movie with a lot of funny and hopefully very good songs. This is a very risky movie to make. The first Mary Poppins is a classic. It's considered one of the greatest movies ever made. If you mess this up, you've got a PR nightmare on your hands. You've got career suicide in case of this. I mean, this is a very risky movie to make, and which is why I'm very happy to report that this is a really good movie. One of my favorites of the year, honestly, and just how funny and how joyful it is. It's such a nice, good feeling movie, which is something that is rare to find nowadays. It's just happy. There's, yes, a very depressing surrounding around it, and yes, it is a very dark time, but the film does show how being happy, just being in a constant state of optimism is so important. This is a very important movie right now, you know, like look at the world. Even look into your personal lives. There's got to be some stuff which is not quite working out. This film is important in that sense because it just reminds you that you got to stay positive. You got to have this happy framework going on all the time, and things will work out for you. Emily Blunt gives the performance of her life in this movie. In fact, this is her best performance to date, in my humble opinion. I think she's best actress Oscar worthy in this movie. I really hope she gets nominated. She's easily one of my favorite performances of the year, without a doubt. Her performance here is so real. It's so heartfelt. You can tell she's giving everything to this role. Right now, this actually kind of makes me think of her kids. Their dad is Jack Ryan this year, and she's Mary Poppins. I mean, what coolest parents ever. Lin-Manuel Miranda, who I am a huge fan of his music and of his acting as well. He's terrific here. He's done a great job as well. His interactions, he plays Jack, someone who's known Mary Poppins before, with Mary and the kids in this movie, who are also spectacular child actors in this movie. Not someone who has just been picked off the street. They are very good actors, and they have excellent dialogue, and they even get whole scenes to themselves. There's a whole action scene, for instance, which is just them, and they pull it off beautifully. Everyone is so beautifully interwoven into this film. I gotta give it praise. The music to this film is brilliant. The soundtrack is one of the best of the year, with some beautiful songs sung by the actors themselves. Emily Blunt's voice is angelic, and so is Lin-Manuel's voice. Beautiful lyrics and score by Mark Shaman, and which is also probably going to get Oscar nominated. It's a fantastic soundtrack, and I would definitely pick it up if I get a chance to. The cinematography, the art design, the production design, this film is a technical marvel. It all looks glorious. There's one CGI shot, which was not the best. It's got a great sense of what made the first film work so well, in that sometimes there can be some story familiarities. You've seen some of this stuff before. They've handled some of these themes in the first Mary Poppins movie as well. Is that a bad thing? Not really. It's kind of like how Force Awakens basically brought in new characters, but it kept the spirit of the first Star Wars movie in it. But it was basically bringing to a new generation the old and the new. Similarly, this does the same. It brings in new elements, but it also keeps the old elements so it can introduce Mary Poppins to this generation. And so I think it works out really well in that regard. That's just my personal take on it. But there's just so much, honoring of what made the first movie so special. There's great integration even of animation, hand-drawn animation that they have at one point. There's a spectacular sequence which happens regarding that. I highly, highly recommend the film just for that. I really only have one issue with the film in that regard, and that is just that I think it's a little long. It's about 2 hours and 10 minutes. Which I think is a little long for a movie like this. I think this could have benefited from being a few minutes shorter. It does tend to drag because of that in the second act in a few scenes. There's a musical number which I really loved, but it kind of goes a minute longer than it needs to. And I'm like, all right, we know what the movie's building to. I think we should skim a little bit here and get to that point of the film because it's starting to drag ever so slightly. But really, that's it. I mean, this film otherwise is just a marvel. It was beautiful, and it's gorgeous. And of course, Emily Blunt, like I've said so many times already in this review, is just fantastic in this movie. I'm gonna give Mary Poppins Returns a 9.5 out of 10. So I've had a very bad throat for the last few days. I've barely been able to talk. This is the most I've talked in 4 days now. So a lot of reviews are on the back burner. I have yet to do Roma, Favorite tomorrow, and I might do Green Book if I get a chance to. I gotta do Aquaman spoilers. And then I gotta give the best and worst list of the year because I'm pretty sure I'm done with watching movies of 2018 this week. So look forward to that list next week because obviously we're gonna be at the end of the year. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to more reviews very soon. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the movies.